If anyone ever had a reason to fear, it was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They had risen to positions of prominence in the pagan kingdom of Babylon. The problem was there were others who had been promoted over who were very jealous. They were evil and they wanted to have them killed. Well, the opportunity came when King Nebuchadnezzar built a giant statue to himself and decreed that everybody had to bow down and worship. And then the adversaries of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego pointed out to the king that they did not bow down and worship. So the king, in rage, brought them before him and said, "You will either bow down and worship me, or I'll throw you into a furnace of execution." Well, they did a very, very non-fearful thing. They were very bold and looked at him and said, "Well, if that's the case, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us from your hand, O king. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, we will not serve your gods, nor will we worship the gold image that you have set up." Where did they get such faith? Why were they not eaten up by fear? Well, a couple hundred years earlier, prophet Isaiah recorded these words from God. "Fear not," Isaiah 43:1. "I have redeemed you. I've called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned." They believed the word of God, and so they did not have fear. Well, the king didn't like their answer, so he heated the furnace up 7 times hotter than usual and had them thrown in. In fact, it was so hot that the guards that threw them in died in the heat. But then something strange happened. The king looked in to hopefully see that they were being burnt up, and they were not. He says in Daniel chapter 4, "Didn't we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire?" And the men around him said, "Yes, true, O king." "Look," he said, "I see 4 men loose and walking around in the midst of the fire, and they're not hurt. And the 4th looks like the Son of God." Well, he was close. It wasn't like the Son of God. It was the Son of God. You see, God did go with them through the fire. God, the pre-incarnate Jesus Christ, right there with them, walking with them through the fire. He didn't deliver them from the fire. He went with them through the fire. You need to understand, sometimes God will deliver you from the fire, but sometimes God does not deliver you from the fire, but he always goes with you through the fire. And his very presence makes a huge difference. The king brought them out and he was astounded. He said, "I can't believe it. The fire had no power. Their hair was not singed, their garments not affected, and the smell of fire was not even on them." And then he made a decree that the glory of God should be promoted through the kingdom, and also he promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to higher positions. They had bold, fearless faith. Why did they have such faith? They believed the promises of God. Why did they have such faith? Because they knew that God had promised he would go with them through the fire. Maybe you are in a fire right now. Maybe you're in a terrible situation. I want you to know you're not alone. God goes with us through the fire. We don't have to give in to fear. We can live in faith.